Hey tankers, Asiatic is here, and we are taking a look at the classic US medium, Tier 5, the M4 Sherman. I picked it up when I decided that I value gun depression in medium tanks, so I'm starting to work my way up the American medium line, and I'm really liking the Sherman. Let's take a look at the stats. We have 700 hit points, which is decent for a medium at that tier. Armor is nothing to write home about. Reasonably mobile. It's not fast, but you can get around the battlefield, and it seems to have pretty decent soft stats in terms of climbing and terrain resistance, things like that. 37 degrees of traverse speed is decent, and also 37 of turret traverse. The gun has a rate of 7.45, which is not fast, but manageable. It's got a armor penetration of 128 millimeters on average, and 177 with armor-piercing composite rigid. That's workable. 160 alpha is fairly standard for a 76 millimeter gun in Blitz. Dispersion is poor at 0.43. It is not a sniping tank. You're going to want to fight at medium to short-ish range. Aim time 2.3, nothing special, but certainly workable. And we're going to take a look at the armor in Armor Inspector. Here's the tank in Armor Inspector. First thing to note is that it is a very tall tank for a medium, and so you're not going to be able to hide it very well. It doesn't have a good camouflage value. It's not a subtle tank. If you're out there, they're going to see it and they're going to shoot at it. Second thing to note is that the armor is not very good. We're looking at it from the point of view of the 85 millimeter Top Gun on the KV-1 Soviet Tier 5 heavy tank. You'll note that if you're turning the tank around and you can get the right angle, you can sometimes get a little bit of a bounce. But in general, if they can see your armor, most tanks are going to be able to penetrate it. Except for the gun mantlet here, which is excellent. It's a nice piece of spaced armor. Effective armor is 151 millimeters, which is very tough to penetrate for that tier. And you'll notice the second thing, which is the gun depression, which is minus 12 degrees. That allows you to peek up over hills and other points of terrain that many tanks can't take advantage of. 12 degrees is excellent. And if you can poke over, you can fire without showing anything but your gun mantlet, and you can see that there are a couple of little weak cheeks over there, but if you're quick, you're not giving them a chance to aim at those things, and you're not giving them anything else to shoot at. So that's awfully useful, and if you know what you're doing, you're going to take advantage of that in this tank. Another thing to note is that the gun actually has a good elevation as well, 25 degrees, so it can fire upward if it needs to at a pretty good angle as well. And that's pretty much what you need to know about this tank. Overall weak armor, good gun mantlet, good gun depression, and that's pretty much it. Let's take a look at some gameplay. Okay, we spawned in the typical medium location for this map, and we're heading over to the right with some good support from allies. And we can see some enemy mediums popping up here. They are oriented to my left, and I want to make them turn. I want to make them react to me, and I want to use the good gun depression on this tank to get shots in. So I'm going to pop up over these dunes, get myself spotted, get a shot in. I have a little bit of lag in this game, which is annoying, but turns out to be manageable. I was playing on annoying hotel Wi-Fi at the time I played this game, so can't really depend on it. I've got an Allied Sherman coming up and a Panzer IV. We are both putting shots into him. He takes out my gunner. Some weird lag here, and I put another one into him. I get rammed by him, damage track, and the other Sherman is doing well. I'm putting shots into him, and my ally takes him out. Excellent, thank you. Now we have cleared this side of the map, and we are working our way up toward the cap circle. They have capped. It's going to take us a little while to get over these dunes. and support our allies on that side of the map. I'm moving up to the spawn side of the mosque, looking for shots, looking to use my gun depression over the tops of these dunes if at all possible. Really don't want to expose myself if I can avoid that. And here's a shot on this Crusader. Bounce off. Reload. Don't have any shots. Crusader's dead, and I want to deal with the enemy tanks at the cap circle. There's Panzer IV. Put one into him. And there's a British AT. I managed to get through the side armor. It's a very tough nut to crack, but he is now alone against 6 tanks. So we're just cleaning up, but I'd like to do my part here. I'm going to move in as he is pulling himself into this little cul-de-sac here. Fires at me and I think bounces, and I'm trying to trap him. I should have side hugged him here to keep him from turning, but as it turns out, it didn't really matter. He kind of panics and gets taken up by allies. So good game. Third class, I did top damage for the battle. Now we're in Rockfield, and we're pushing up toward the bunkers. There's some great spots to use gun depression here, which I'm going to take advantage of. I'm going to hide behind this bush and look for spots coming across the open field here. And as it turns out in this battle, I don't encounter any, but we do have a bunch of enemy tanks coming up here. And once again, good gun depression behind this ridge, and I'm going to try to take advantage of that as best I possibly can. Hit this Crusader as he moves across and hides behind the bunker. Got a Panzer IV, that's not really a shot, but if I adjust slightly, it is. Back up to reload. And moving back and forth looking for shots. Panzer IV still in position to be fired at. I take a hit from the Crusader. Panzer IV is just sitting out there, so hit him again. Lose my gunner. Heal him. Another one into the Panzer IV, and an ally kills him. I have another Panzer up here and a Churchill. Panzer's dead. We have an AT, which I do not want to fight from the front, but we have a Churchill, and with decent penetration values here, I can go through the front of his turret, and I have pretty good turret face, so I'm going to take advantage of that as long as I am not being shot by this AT, which I cannot really hurt from the front. Going to get occasional bounces on this Churchill. Starting to think, look at the rest of the battlefield, orient from a safe location, and take out the Churchill. Now the basic goal is to leave the AT for last. I want to do as much damage to the rest of the team as possible before having to deal with the AT, when we can potentially circle it and outnumber it. Move up here. I want to take on this Hetzer. Easily penetrate the front of the Hetzer. Back up. He's in trouble and he's going to advance. And I'm going to take a poor shot at the wrong angle and bounce off of him. Back up, get a little caught up in the rock. He puts one into me and I take him out. But there's an enemy tank destroyer back here. I back up in order to reload, and friendly Stug comes up to shoot him. We both shoot him at basically the same time. He gets the kill, which is just fine. Now the AT is, well, he's walking dead because he's alone against a bunch of tanks. He's going to put up a heroic last stand, but there's nothing he can really do to keep himself alive or salvage this game. Moving up, I'd like to do my part without getting damaged too much. The AT does take out a friendly. Thinking about what direction to shoot from, and the Stug is very aggressive here and having a little battle with him. Put one into the AT. I've switched to APCR because I don't want to let my teammate down, really. And I want to get some final damage in this game. Not absolutely necessary. I could have circled up and tried to get some shots. And he turns so I can get a good shot on him. Battling it out with the Stug. Pretty much ignoring me. Wrong time to shoot. Waste of an APCR round. And KV-1 takes him out. And once again, an excellent game. First class, top damage, etc. And here we are on the Halloween version of Rockfield. Moving up. On the opposite side, there's a similar bush where you can look for shots across the field, and this time I get some. Fire at the Churchill and get a nice penetration. I am spotted, so I pull back. I don't want to be sniped across the battlefield. I don't know what is out there. Fire at this Hetzer. Managed to get him despite my poor dispersion. Move up to see if I have any good shots on this Churchill, and in fact I do. I'm spotted, but I want one more shot in. Get that in. Back up to reload. Shot on this guy across the way. So as you can see, the tank's accuracy stats are poor, but you can work with it. You can, if you take the time to aim in, you can fire across the map. Now I'm moving up across the plateau here, looking for opportunities to fight it out. We have T-28. We put one into him. I'm in a nice position here. I do want to take this Matilda if I can. He's the more dangerous tank. That meant I had to absorb a shot from the T-28 because I was exposing my hull. I pulled back. He really had no shots on me because he could really only see my turret face. Now I want this Churchill. I track him, slows him down momentarily. Get another shot into him. Nope, I donk that shot. Move up here, looking for shots. Put one into him. This is really, again, just clean up and trying to get some extra damage, as everybody else on the team is also trying to do. We move in toward the Churchill. Everybody's heading toward him now. There's the game. Another good one in terms of stats. Okay, last one. We are on the new version of Desert Sands. I have spawned as the only medium on the left side, and I don't want to fight it down on the side, so I have done what I usually don't do, is move toward the town side of things. And I'm not super familiar with this map yet. It's just come out. I haven't played on this side much because I've been mostly playing mediums out in the desert there. So I'm having to orient myself to what the heck is out here, how these buildings are arranged, etc. Put one into this T-28. That was a snapshot at decent range, so I was very lucky to get that in. And we see a DW2, which is moving itself kind of foolishly out into the open here. He hits his adrenaline, but he's not being very effective in terms of putting shots in. I'm pretty vulnerable here. I don't have a good spot to back up into. I'm trying to give him as little of my vulnerable spots as possible. He backs away because I was doing a lot of damage to him. I think one more shot would have done it. So now I'll move into here where the main firefight is occurring. I discover that there's no way to get through those buildings over there, so I have to go around this way. and look for shots. Here is a KV-1. I put one into him as I take a shot. And you'll notice I can penetrate the front of a KV-1 as long as he is not angled with regular AP ammunition. If he angles, then he's in good shape, but he is not angling. He's not playing that tank at the really 45-degree angle it should be facing toward enemies. This little Electo get in the way, and then I put one into the KV-1. Now I want to really disrupt things. I put one into this Hetzer, and he backs away. You notice I can easily penetrate the front of a Hetzer. I'd really like to use my mobility to disrupt this battle line here. So I'm looking for opportunities to do that. Noticing that there's no way to fire between these little buildings here. Sometimes there's a little crack, but not there. Again, I don't know this map super well. Come around, encounter a Soviet TD. Don't handle that very well. Should have cut in on him, but managed to kill him regardless. So T-49 back there. He backs behind a building. I'm being engaged by a T-34. Put one into him, and you start using this carcass of the Hetzer for cover. Put one into him, hide behind it in order to reload. Don't want him to put one into me. He's got a better rate of fire than me, but now he's dead. And that's the game. Hope you liked the video. Please like, please subscribe, and comment if there's anything you think I could do better. Thanks a lot, and happy tanking.